just sort of saying, oh, I don't feel like talking because, you know, she doesn't feel so good. And I said, look, this is what the group is for. And Robin sort of mentioned that yesterday. She said, you know, you sometimes don't want to come on when you're feeling really overwhelmed with the ego. But this is what the group is for, because this is when you need to practice forgiveness. You don't need to practice forgiveness when you're happy. So it's really good to remember that forgiveness shifts you out of unhappiness and brings you peace. It should have that. That's its intention. It's the miracle, and it's the only device for us. It's the only thing that gives us peace. Now, it's like a technique or a process, and it's purification. So it doesn't necessarily mean that when you do it on the one thing, this particular one thing that's upsetting you or in your mind, you'll have to circle around to that over and over. At times it'll be the one thing, but you go back at it over and over and it gets just slowly undone. Now, some things are healed quite quickly and other things take a long, long time. So it's just really important to remember that when you're feeling overwhelmed and it's the same old thing, a same old thought pattern, we've got to remember it's not a thing that's upsetting us, it's our patterning of thoughts. It's a conditioned way of thinking. That's what the ego is. It's not a real thing, it's a conditioned way of thinking. And what happens is we're unaware of that conditioning. We're unaware of it. So through this process of forgiveness that we're doing here, we become more and more aware of the conditioned thinking that causes us to feel depressed, sad, fatigued, sick, lonely. All those experiences come from the conditioning of our thinking. It's a pattern of thinking that we've had in our minds. That's why when we say to ourselves, have I felt like this before? Have I felt like this maybe when I was a child or a teenager at times? We say, yes, I have had this feeling. Now, why would this feeling come up in the way it does? Because I'm thinking a certain way, right? Now, that is like the first step. It's my thoughts. That's why Jesus brings in the first 20 or 30 lessons. It's all about your thoughts. Nothing I say means anything, right? Everything I say, I have given everything the meaning it has. So the meaning, all these first two lessons come from the meaning. Well, where does the meaning come from? If I've given let me find something, a tissue box. If I've given the pattern on that tissue box a meaning, where does it come from? It can only come from my thoughts. It has no meaning. If I look at that pattern on there, it means nothing. It's just white and black going in a pattern. It has no meaning. It's absolutely meaningless. I have given that a meaning. So if there's another box of tissues next to it and has pretty flowers on it, or it's plain blue, and I say, oh, I actually like this. I like this box. And I pick it up. I've given it a meaning. Where does the meaning come from? My thoughts. Nowhere else. Jesus says, I can only be affected by my thoughts. Now, if I go back to next week and that box isn't there, and I'm upset because I don't want those other boxes, I only want that one, right? And that box isn't there, and I'm upset, and I get angry, and I storm out of the Woolworths, and I go home and I sit for days and I ruminate on why my box that I like isn't there. That's what we're doing with everything, because there's no hierarchy of illusion. If I think there's a special person that brings me happiness, it's a box of tissues. There's no hierarchy. Whatever I'm upset about, I've given a meaning. Nothing really means anything here. It's my thoughts, my pattern of conditioning, my past conditioned thinking that has given it a meaning. Nak was saying last night something along the lines that, well, if I have no thoughts, it's going to be really boring. It's going to be nothingness. And I said to her, that is the ego's version of being free of it. The ego says if I don't have lots of problems to think about and lots of things to concern myself and worry about and figure out and be trying to, figure out where happiness is, that it's going to be like a big void in my mind, that there's going to be this empty, horrible void of nothingness. And I'm just going to lie there in nothingness all day and go, oh, I'm not thinking about anything. There's just nothingness. It's all terrible. I'm in this big void. It's all blah. And I said, that's the ego's version of being free of it. And the ego says that, to be free of its concern and worry and conditioned, that it would be horrible. You have to understand that that's still the ego telling you that. So we're in the ego, we're listening to the ego telling us what it's going to be like to be free of its fear and horrible conditioned thinking. And so it's the one that brings in all it's the pusher, it's the doer, it's the you're not good enough, it's the you're not worthy enough, you're hopeless, you failed, you're failing now, you always fail. That's its thought system. And then it says, oh, if you want to be free of me, it'll be a horrible pit of boringness and nothingness. So that's its next thing it offers you. So the only way to really know the truth is to go to the Course in Miracles, where it says, how would it feel to have a tranquil mind, a peaceful mind all the time, is completely free of fear and happy and joyful? How would it feel? So if you're ever listening to the ego and it's telling you to be free of it is going to be horrible, you're going to be sacrificing, it's going to be loss, it's going to be a void, the best thing to do is go and read the Course and just say, no, actually Jesus says that to be free of the ego is to be really, to experience this absolute tranquility, contentment, happiness, quietness. How would it feel to have a quiet mind all the time? Just purely present and happy and joyful. How would it feel to be like that in every moment and have it for the rest of your life? And so that's why that is the peace of God. That is the peace of God. And that's why that lesson, the peace of God is all I want. So the forgiveness, this forgiveness process is an active process that we're getting into a habit of doing because we need to get new habits. We're in a habit of thinking with the ego, and we need to have a new habit where we notice the ego, we become aware of it. and we're actively saying, I'm not going to tolerate this anymore. There is another way, and I found the way, and Jesus has given me the way. So I have a Holy Spirit that's helping me. I have to ask my helper to help me. I can't do this on my own, because every time I ask, I'm asking the ego. So I have to invite another voice that will help me. So that's my only option, my only choice here is between the ego and the Holy Spirit, because there is no my thoughts. I don't have my own personality and my own thoughts. I am a conditioned response to my ego thoughts. So when my ego thoughts say something and I listen to it and I believe it, I then act on it and I say things from it. I talk from it. And I say, I feel blah, blah, blah. But I'm really just saying, I've just listened to the ego. The ego has just told me this. I've then believed it. And now I'm going to tell you what I believe. And that's really what I'm saying. I'm listening to the ego. And you'll hear everyone say, as soon as they say, I'm this and I'm that, they're really saying, hey, I've just listened to my ego. My ego is telling me how hopeless I am. My ego is telling me that I'll never be good enough. I'll never get this. I'll never be worthy. The ego's telling me life will be a struggle. This, that, and the other. And I've believed it. And I know I've believed it because I'm feeling like crap. I'm feeling tired. I'm feeling fatigued. And the answer is not to try to get up and go for a run. The answer is to look at the ego. Turn around and look at it. Look it straight in the face. And saying, I'm sick of listening to you. You don't know my best interest. You're not loving me. In fact, you're like a false virus in my mind that I'm just sick of listening to. I'm sick of it. Why would I want to listen to a voice that wants to tell me my brother is horrible, it judges my brother all day, it judges all my brothers, it judges brothers on TV, it judges brothers on the group, it judges brothers, everyone I live with, it's judge, and then it judges me. All day long the ego judges. You can tell, you're listening to it. What does it do? What's this thought system do? Judge. It's a constant judgment stream. It's a stream, it's a procession of thoughts that judge me, judge my brother, judge people on TV, judge politicians, judge the virus, judge this, judge all day long. So when we're caught up in the ego, we're caught up in a stream of thoughts. It's very important to remember that the ego is a thought system. It's not a real thing, because if you withdraw your belief in it, it has no power. And this is the only power we have. The only power we have is to withdraw our belief in it and start to activate another thought system in our mind. Now, all the lessons of the Course are those other thoughts. And those other thoughts go to create my new thought system. I'm now going to be mind trained into thinking with the new thoughts. I am as God created me. I am sustained by the love of God. I am blessed as a son of God. I am love. I was created by love. I am spirit. I am holy. There is nothing my holiness cannot do. My brothers are holy. See the face of Christ. I am the Christ. So are they. So all these thoughts that I've never had those thoughts naturally before. So they're going to feel strange. There's going to be quite a long period of time where we go through the process of replacing those old egoic patterning of thoughts with new ones. So it's like any habit. We have to actively consciously put that new pattern into place, the new thoughts into place, they're not going to come in first thing in the morning. The ego is going to be there in our mind the first thing in the morning. Got to notice it. Got to be really willing to say, okay, here's the ego telling me how the day's going to be. Oh my God, it's this and that, and it's doom and gloom and blah, blah, blah. And so we have to say, okay, my job today is to do the best I can to actively choose against the ego. I have to be vigilant against it. I have to be vigilant. Some days you'll do it really well, and other days you won't. But you'll be working towards going further along and working towards, some days you'll do it brilliantly, and other days you'll be swamped by it, and you'll be taken down by it, and you just have to be really gentle with yourself on those bad days, and you just have to say, look, I'm just taken down by it. I just don't feel I can do it today. So I'm just going to say I rest in God and lie in bed and have some nice food and just be really gentle. I'm not going to beat myself up, and just be kind to myself today. And then other days you're going to wake up, you're going to feel that strength to really, hey, today, you know what? That's bullshit. There you go. I'm not listening to that. So your path, the periods of undoing, as he says, with the development of trust, they're long roads in themselves. So, and you're not going to know when you're going to get to this final peace of mind, and you don't concern yourself with it. The concern is with undoing the ego. Concern yourself with that. Know what the ego is. Once you know what the ego is, you can then notice it. The more you notice your thoughts, and it takes some quietness, you'll know how you feel. So rules for decision can really help you with that. You know, how am I feeling? If I'm not feeling good, I have to be listening to the ego and believing it. So I can't get out of it. I'm mixed up in it. It's like I'm in quicksand. I cannot get myself out of quicksand when I'm with the ego. I've got to have help. Holy Spirit, help me. You take this. I don't want it. You know, if I used to wake up with this feeling of doom and gloom about going to work, hating my job. I just think, oh God, you know, I woke up in the morning and, oh, this again, because I had a patterning of thoughts that would come in every day. So I started to just say, Holy Spirit, you take all these thoughts, see myself bundling them up, putting them on the altar, you take it. I don't want them anymore, because I wanted to feel a little bit better in the morning. I wanted to be able to get out of bed and get in the shower and not have this whole patterning of thoughts. Oh, this is terrible. This, God, I hate my boss. Oh, this person. Oh, and God, I wish I had a better job. Why do I have to do that? Oh, I've got so much work. The whole thoughts were all bloody, 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 blah. So I just decided, you know, and this is the forgiveness process, is give it over. Now, when I say give it over, it sometimes comes back. You know, you might be free for 10, 15 minutes, and then the thought comes in, yeah, but what about such and such? And, oh, God, I've got to do that particular thing today, and, oh, I don't feel like doing that, and, oh, I just wish no one would speak to me today, and, you know, and so, once again, a forgiveness. So over and over during the day, a big forgiveness. Now, at the start, when you're practicing forgiveness, it feels laborious because you're doing it over and over. It feels a struggle. It doesn't feel easy. But it's like any practice, any habit. It gets easier as you do it. You're going to have ups and downs, but generally, you're getting better at it. You're getting more aware of the thoughts that cause you And sometimes you can just look at a thought and go, oh, that old chestnut, no thanks, you know. Other times you're going to get really caught up in it again. So we just go along. We're all joined together in as a group. And this is the way. And no one gets out of this easy. Generally, he says in the course that most people have a long, steady undoing period. Some people get it real quick. For me, I felt like it wasn't quick. It felt like, you know, it was consistent forgiveness. I never did it perfectly. I just had bad days. I had good days. But when we look back, we see that where we were maybe 12 months ago or 6 months ago, when we look today, we say, well, actually, I've got more of those. I'm understanding the course a little bit better. I've had more maybe experiences of peace. Even if they didn't last very long, they might have lasted an hour or a day or a couple of days. I've had those experiences of peace that he talks about. So when you have an experience of peace, say you have a couple of weeks where you're really peaceful, and then you go back into the unpeaceful period, know that don't look back, don't hang on to it. Just say this is all part of the journey. Anytime I'm upset, it's my opportunity to bring it to the light. So the next level of darkness is coming up. It's all for forgiveness. It's giving over to the Holy Spirit. So that's all my job is. My job is to practice forgiveness. My whole function is the practicing of forgiveness. So every day I wake up, I say my job is to practice forgiveness today. To watch my mind, to just say, okay, what's going on? So you reorientate your life to, rather than having your life about getting or achieving or seeking pleasure, your job is to undo the ego by turning to the Holy Spirit, turning to Jesus. My job is about undoing the ego. That's it. My classroom is here. My triggers are here. Anyone that triggers me, that's good. It's showing me what's left to do forgiveness on. And as I practice forgiveness, it brings the miracle. It brings the shift. I shift from fear to love. I shift out of the ego into the loving mind. And the more I do that, the more I'm gentle on myself when I really can't do it. The other days I can do it. Just work with where you're at. And it just happens. So that's why this forgiveness practice group, miracles group, is important, because as you do your practice here, and I expect you practice all day long, not just in the group, as you do your practice, you help others, you share with others what you're doing. Your willingness helps rise everyone up to help to have the willingness. So as a group, we bring each other up along with us. It is helpful to hear the same egoic beliefs in everyone. Oh, guess what? I'm not special. I don't have a special ego. I don't have my special private thoughts. Everyone else has the same thoughts as me. Here I was thinking I was the only one that felt completely unworthy, hopeless, that I'd failed all the time. And guess what? Everyone else feels the same way. They all got the same thought system. They all got the same thoughts telling them they're hopeless and failing. So we can laugh, ha ha ha. We all got the same thoughts. I don't get to have a special ego. I don't get to have any special depression, special sadness, special loneliness. Guess what? We all got it. Everyone, every single person here in the dream, in the world that we see, has the same ego, all the same. If you dig deep enough with everyone you meet, they all got it. It's hidden. They may not even realise it, but it's there. Everyone's here with the same thought system, and everyone can awaken. Just this is the process to awakening: purification, forgiveness. So that's it. There's no other way to be free of the ego. You have to see it and you have to have it changed. You have to be vigilant. You have to see its falseness. And until you see that it's a lie, you think it's true. And when you think it's true, it has traction and it's given life, and it brings sadness, it brings anxiety, depression, and as Jesus says, this need not be. You don't have to suffer them. You don't have to. There's no reason to. There's an answer. But yes, it's going to take a lot of willingness and readiness, and that's your job. And are you ready to do it? That's it, you know. Why wouldn't you? If someone said, hey, would you like to have a tranquil, peaceful mind all the time where it can be undisturbed? Would you say, no thanks, I'm happy where I am in my depression? No. I was seeking an answer. I was desperate for an answer to depression. And along came a course. Now, I didn't know exactly what he was asking me to do. I didn't understand, but it said that it could bring me a tranquil mind all the time. So I just made it my life's purpose to find out what this teaching was all about, find out what I needed to do. Tell me what I need to do to get that, and I'll do it. I don't care what I have to do, I'll do it. And really, that's all we need to say. If someone takes a course and he says, I'm taking you through a course, and at the end, you're going to have this beautiful, peaceful mind, wouldn't you do it perfectly? Wouldn't you give 100%? Don't you want the peace of God above all else? Why would you want to desire something he's telling us? There's no happiness anywhere else. Have a look. It says, have a look. When you've chased things in the world, has it ever brought you happiness, lasting happiness? No. So go within. Find all the obstacles to that peace and let them go. Be desireless. Have desire nothing but the peace of God. Work on being silent. He says, be still. Sink down beneath the thoughts. Well, I have to do that. I might feel like watching Netflix, but he says, do this. Okay, I'll do that because that's going to bring me closer to peace. He's offering us a course to the peace of God. Only we can decide it. No one else can take this for you. No one can get the willingness. No one can bring you the dedication. Only you can do that. And you'll only do it when you're absolutely sick and tired of being depressed and anxious and feeling blah. Only you can do it. And that's it. And it's going to take a while. You're going to go through periods that aren't very nice, but you have to do it. So as we join here now, we're practicing forgiveness. So let's just start, and I'll just ask anyone who feels like they'd like to share whatever fear, whatever upset's coming up at the moment, or if you've got a miracle or something you want to share, that'd be lovely to hear as well.
Looking for familiar faces in an empty window pane, listening for the secret, searching for the sound, but I could only hear the preacher and the baying of his hounds. say love your brother, but you will catch it when you try. Roll you down the line, boy, drop you for a loss, ride you out on the cold railroad and nail you to a cross. November and more as I wait for the score. They're telling me forgiveness is the key to every door. A slow winter day and that lag forever seemed like a storm, flowed like a feather. Song of the solid owl, out on the mountain, it'll drive you insane, listening to the winds howl. Unbroken chain of sorrow and girls, unbroken chain of sky and sea, unbroken chain